Hey gang, today I'd like to talk about accessible colors for a few minutes. It's one of those things that you always hear about, but you have to go searching for tools. So recently I've found a bunch of different tools that I've been using to try and improve my own knowledge of it, and I'd like to share them with you. Quick recap of what accessible color means. It means two things. One, it means making sure the colors work for people with color blindness, and it's about making sure that those colors work with people with impaired vision. And really those two things come down to contrast. So if you're looking at my desktop here, there's not much contrast between this gray and this gray, if you can even see it, right? The WCAG has a whole list of guidelines for accessibility. This web content accessibility guidelines. Very, very in-depth, very long read, kind of a hard read. So I found a better article over here on usecontrast.com, and this is a very useful article for digging into accessible colors. It's by a guy named Matt Smith, and he goes through what that means and how it applies to the guidelines. He actually estimates, or he's found a statistic here, fact sheet, that says 285 million people in the world are visually impaired. There's 7 billion people in the world, so I don't think this number is big enough. But who am I to disagree? Anyway, it's very simple. The way that the WCAG works is they have some complicated math that compares two different colors and gives them a rating from 0, which is total fail, all the way up to 21, which is black text on a white background, or white text on a black background. It's all about that contrast. They set the bar very low. They found that it doesn't have to be 21 in order to be useful, but that would be a nice target. So they set it very low. So long as you're over 3.0, you get something, AA large or AA plus. This is any text that's over 18 pixels on that background. 4.5, 7.0 if you want AAA. AAA is kind of a unicorn. The only way that you can get AAA is by achieving that 7.0 and having a selector on your website that lets users change their colors. How many websites are you going to do that to? Probably none. But shooting for the 7.0 is always a good goal. So let's do that. Now, in terms of actual useful tools, there's a bunch, and I'm going to pick on Vimeo for a few seconds, not because they're bad, but just because they're available. The first one that I found was an extension for Chrome. It's called Funkify, and it's a disability simulator right at the top there. It gives you different settings, so Blurry Bianca, Dyslexia actually jumbles the letters as you're trying to read them. Trembling Trevor, you lose control of your mouse. They give them names so that you empathize with them a little bit. But if you find them, you'll find that there's actually two in here. There's Blurry Bianca and this Color Carl. So we can start that, and you'll see right away that it actually changes. That's grayscale, 1 in 30,000. The colors change. You can turn this off and on to see the difference. See how things change. Red green, very popular. Green weak, so everything is just a little bit on the purple side. Blue, purple, at least to me. And then of course grayscale. If you aren't looking at a web page, Xscope also has a tool, which is pretty cool. It's actually a whole series of tools. I strongly recommend it. I'll probably talk about it on another day, but it does have this thing, and you can change that so you can kind of see the shift between these over here. This is blurry, so the text is now blurry. Different colors. That one's a little bit greenish. So you can test your Photoshop files if you wanted to as well using Xscope. Actually, just checking colors is very straightforward. The best I've found for that is something called Colorable. And here's that 21, that white on black or black on white. And in here, you just pick 2 colors. And in reality, it doesn't matter whether it's foreground or background, because it's going to rate them and give it that number anyway. So it can be white on black or black on white, and it'll still come out as a 21. But you can enter a different color in here. Maybe we enter, I'm guessing here, there's a good one. And yeah, so there's a true fail. It's just not high enough, okay? We could probably make it higher by lowering this to, I'm taking a guess here. Oh, that's going the wrong way. Why is that going the wrong way? Oh, or maybe this. There, that's better. So a darker red on a lighter green gets us to that AA base rating. Just a little bit more might actually push us over that, so we get the AAA, right? That's a good way to test a single color. Single colors take a long time. You have to enter them back and forth. A faster way is just to enter all of your colors into this thing. This is the contrast grid by 8Shapes. And you just enter all of your colors and it gives you this grid. Does not pass, AA, AAA. There's that AA plus, that AA 18 pixels. Cool thing about this, you can download it, so you could actually share it with the client or include it in your deliverables, right? And you can actually sort these too, so I can move this up. It's pretty good. Bringing it all the way back around, if you remember, we started at the contrast, this guide. This is actually an app too, and that's why he wrote the guide. So it's an app that lives up in my mobile bar, my menu bar, and you just pick 2 different colors. So in this case, I have black and, or sorry, what is that? Yeah, black and pink, right? I can change it to white on, I don't know, black. There it is. There's that AAA. And there are some shortcuts as well. So if I wanted to, I could put the black out front and the white in the back to check that as well. Oh, that's not a true black, which is why it's not 21. So that's it. Accessible colors. Apparently my tongue has stopped working. Accessible colors. Color blindness checking. Contrast checking. They're kind of the same thing. An extension for Chrome, Funkify. Xscope has some cool tools. Colorable, the 8Shapes contrast grid, and this really cool contrast app that I've just started using recently. So how do you manage colors? I'm curious. Always willing to learn more, so definitely check some of this stuff out and tell me what you find. I'm curious. Other than that, later. Have a good one.